Welcome everybody to this Wednesday session, our Wisdom Wednesday series. We are very fortunate today to have Anagārikā Sumudu. She's been presenting online in previous talks, and we're very grateful and glad to have her in person. Tina does send her apologies. She's not feeling well, so I'll be filling in today as the facilitator. Just a little bit of a brief introduction about Anagārikā Sumudu. She exemplifies the profound truth that service to others is the path to true fulfillment. Raised in the warm embrace of Sri Lanka, her journey led her to Australia, where alongside her partner, she earned a doctorate in Analytical Chemistry at the prestigious Australian National University. A transformative encounter with a wise teacher that there ignited a profound shift. Inspired by a yearning for unconditional happiness, Dr. Sumudu and her then husband made a life-altering decision, leaving behind successful careers, hers as a respected scientist at the Australia's Therapeutic Goods Administration, TGA. They embarked on a path of selfless dedication. As an Anagārikā, Dr. Sumudu has empowered countless individuals and communities to navigate life's challenges. Her keen intellect, honed by scientific rigor, is now masterfully woven with a deep understanding of Buddhist philosophy. Through mindful awareness and contemplative reflection, she guides individuals to step outside of psychological struggles and into a life of inner harmony and lasting well-being. She currently volunteers as head teacher of Buddhist International Girls' School, a school steeped in Buddhist values. Here she nurtures young minds and leads a team of over 50 staff, fostering the potential for future world leaders, imbued with compassion and wisdom. Renowned for her unwavering commitment and boundless compassion, Dr. Sumudu offers guidance and loving kindness to all who seek it. So with that, I'd like to invite Anagārikā Sumudu to talk on tonight's topic, the art of crafting healthy connections.
Thank you very much, sir. Everyone. How are you doing all? Doing great. Good to see you, and good to see all the online participants as well. Hope you all had a great day, a busy day. Can you all hear me? Awesome. Great. So yeah, we are gathered here today to talk about something special, something really special. That's about healthy relationships. That's what we really need, isn't it? That's what we are lacking at the moment, the healthy relationships. How do you find yourself? Are you having healthy relationships right now? What do you think? Our online listeners, what do you think? Are you having healthy relationships? Yeah, I can see Bill. Yeah. Pawan?
Kind of, not fully.
I know. That's why we are going to have this session. Yeah, it has become one of the, key issues currently around the world. So that we need to find an answer for this. We need to find actually not a temporary answer, but an answer that we can rely on forever, isn't it? Okay. So, what do you think is a relationship? What is your idea about relationship? Yes, sir? Do you have any idea? What do you think? Anyone? Anybody?
It's the connection you have with another person.
Awesome. The connection that you have with another person. If I draw it, how can I draw it? This is you, and this is the other one. And you have the connection between you two. And what kind of connection? Yeah.
Spiritual, emotional, verbal, intellectual, I don't know, all of it.
All of it, yes.
Depends on the context.
Depends on the context, of course. Thank you very much, Brooke. How do I?
Yeah,
Brooke.
that's right.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So yes, actually, this is what we think is a relationship that is beneficial for the both ends. But is that what we really see in today's society? Actually, what is your idea? Is that what we really see in today's society, or is it something different? When we think about, yes, of course, this is how it should be, of course, but I think most of the time it is about, most of the time, it's about themselves, about our own selves. All right, tell me, husbands and wives in the audience, how about you? If your wife does something that you don't want to do, that is something apart from your will, how do you feel? Your partner, your wife, or your friend, how do you feel?
Frustrated.
Yeah. Actually, what kind of, before we going into that, what kind of relationships that we encounter? What type of? It can be husband and wife. Can you all see me if I write here? Yes. It could be husband and wife. And what else?
Friends.
Friends, of course.
Colleagues.
Yeah. What else you can say? What about mother and daughter? Mother, isn't it? Mother and daughter.
Siblings.
Yes. Siblings. What about a doctor and a patient? It is also.
Student, teacher.
Of course. So it's everywhere. Everywhere you see this kind of relationships. All right. So we are looking for a healthy relationship. As I told you, a relationship should benefit both ends. Okay? But today, in this day and age, most of the time, people think about only themselves. Because most of the time, people are self-centered, aren't they? They are looking for the things that they want, most of the time, not what the others want. All right, let's take husband and wife. What if your husband forget your birthday? Wives in the audience, how do you feel? And the husbands in the audience, what if your partners forget your birthday? How would you feel? Will you be happy? Or will you be frustrated? Huh? Of course, you know. It doesn't make you happy.
I'm neutral. I don't mind.
You're neutral. You don't mind. You don't have a girlfriend, do you?
I have,
Don't you expect anything?
but I don't really celebrate birthday with
birthday.
everyone. I celebrate with myself basically. So I don't mind if someone else forget it. I don't mind.
You don't mind. What about your girlfriend? What if you forget?
I remember her.
Huh?
I remember her birthday.
You do, yeah?
But for myself, I don't really mind much about
because you care about others.
Yeah.
It's not that you are not focused about you. That's the secret behind this. Right. What about a mother and a daughter? A mother and a kid? Mothers want what? Kids to learn.
Chores done.
Pardon?
The chores done. Housework done.
housework.
Sure.
Chores.
Is that what your mom expects from you? Yeah. Sometimes, yes, of course, they want your help, but sometimes, at the same time, they want you to learn really well, isn't it? If you don't study for your exams, and if you're just, hang around with your friends and so on, how would your parents react? They'll be really upset about you. They'll be really, they'll be really upset. They really want you to do the studies well. And what about siblings? When it comes to siblings, you always have problems, don't you? You fight for the remote control, you fight for the dress, you fight for everything basically. Fight for parents' love, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So, even though we think that it is a pure connection between two ends, is it really pure, or that we are really concerned about our ways or the things that make us happy? In mother and a daughter, or parents and kids, parents want kids to behave in a certain way, isn't it?
Yes.
Parents want kids to study well and do not do the household chores and, help them. And of course, when it comes to husband and wife, you have, husbands expect certain things from the wives, and wives at the same time expect certain things from husbands. If they cross the limits, then they'll be upset. So, is it really that you think about the other party, or is that you really think about yourselves? It's because you have to think about this. It's all because that you think about yourself most of the time, not about the other party. Isn't it? Isn't that the reason for unhealthy relationships? Because people are so self-centered, very concerned about themselves. If that's so, what should we do then to build a healthy relationship? We always have to think about the other party. We have my own ways, isn't it? You always need things to happen in certain ways, the ways that you want them to happen. Which one is faster, my way or the highway? Highways are basically faster, isn't it? What if you are always thinking the ways that you think are the correct ways? What if you try to act accordingly? What if you try to make the other party happy at the same time? Instead of taking your own way, why don't you try the highway instead? Why don't you try to, think about, why don't you try to be in their shoes?
Yes.
She must be, her mom must have called her something. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So what if you try to think about the other party and adjust yourself? Be like water. When two stones meet each other, who can move forward? At least, what do you think? Can anybody move forward? Two stones together? None of them can move forward. And how can you move forward? Being like a stone, can you move forward? No. What you have to do is, you have to be like what? Water. Once a stone encounters water, is there a barrier for water? Do you think that a stone is a barrier for water? No. Water just flows. It doesn't matter what comes on its way. It just can flow. Because it can take, water can take the shape of whatever the container that it is put in. Whatever the path it is chosen. It can just flow. Likewise, when you encounter rigid stones or rigid kind of ideas, why can't you be like water and just flow? Allow them to be them. And why don't you change your shape instead of trying to change their shape? Don't you think that it's a good choice? Rather than trying to change, most of the time when we have our own views, when we have our own ways, we always try to shape the others according to our ways, according to our views. Especially when I was late, my husband, he used to leave his, what do you call this? The towel on the bed. He didn't care when it is wet, he just left it there. I was always so annoyed. I was so angry. And I didn't want him to do it. I wanted him to put it in the correct place and just hang it there. But he never did it, and I was always angry. But what if I had made an extra step? What if I had gone an extra mile and do it on behalf of him? But at that time, I was not. I was hesitant. I was like, why don't you do that? Why am I supposed to do it? It's your job to do it. Isn't it? My dear ladies, don't you find that kind of situations at home when you're working with your loved ones, even your parents, with your kids, your husbands, your wives? So, of course, while I'm asking you, we think more about the other party, and why can't we take an extra mile? I think that's a best option that we can do. Instead of trying to shape them according to our perspectives, we can just try doing something more for them. And when it comes to your household chores, of course, Brooke, your mom must be so busy. And she must be asking you to do the household chores. Of course, I know that. That's how the moms are. I remember when I was a kid, my mom used to tell me, why can't you help me a bit? Because she was doing a lot at that time. And I feel like mom is the person who brought you to this world. Dad is the person who gave you the life, isn't it? And she was holding her for 10 months in her womb. And she was doing all the things on her own, bearing you. And now, and she, of course, when I was young, she had done whole lot of things to bring me up to this stage. So then why can't I do something to make her happy? Why can't I do something to give her a smile on her face? Something more, an extra mile. You know, always, every morning, I do something. When I'm in the monastery, every morning I do something. I wake up in the morning and then I make a glass of water, and I normally offer that to Lord Buddha. And I offer that to Lord Buddha and then stand in front of him, and then I'm thinking about the things that he had done, the sacrifices he had done throughout the samsara to make us happy, to give us the happiness, the eternal happiness, the unshakable happiness, the unconditional happiness. The things that he had done ever since. It's uncountable. So I asked him, may I be able to part of you? May I be able to bring a smile to each and every face that I encounter today. Basically, I ask to be the magnet that drags everyone's merits. And I wish for that. Now, everybody, may I be able to become a magnet that drags everyone's merits. May I be able to bring a smile to their faces. May I be able to do something to make them happy. That's how I start my day. What if you also give it a go and see? Give it a try and see. Every day, make a wish that I'm going to make these people smile. I'm going to make a smile, bring a smile to everyone's face. Actually, that works for me all the time. All the time. And I'm always having good relationships with people. Some of the time, you know that in our army, there are about 750 people. 700, actually, yes, 150 monks and about 200 Anagārikas, just like me, Anagārikas and Anagārikas, male and female, and 170 kids who are following the path. Actually, it's from 7 years of age to 80, 90 years of age. We all are following this path to happiness. Make others happy. That's what we really do. It's, of course, we think about our happiness at the same time. Most of the time, we're concerned about others' happiness. So we always go the extra mile to make others happy. Just like what I'm doing today. Just like I'm here to make you all happy, to give you an idea about the happiness that I'm experiencing without any conditions, without any expectations. You know, when you have expectations in your mind, does it make you happy, or does it put you into a stressed condition? What does it really do to you when you have expectations? What do you think, sir? When you have expectations, what happens to you?
It usually makes you suffer.
Makes you suffer, isn't it? Everybody
You
in the audience?
become rigid.
Pardon, ma'am?
You become rigid.
You become rigid, of course. Why? You have your own comfort zone. And once you have your expectations, you don't want to come out of that box. Because why? You have set the corners. You have set the borders for your happiness. Isn't it? So then if someone does something unexpected, which is outside your box, you'd be frustrated. You'd be super upset. Isn't it? So we have to broaden these things. We have to broaden our comfort zones, make them broader. Think about others. Give them the happiness. Think about their happiness. Rather than, as I dreamed before, rather than think about your own self, please think about the ways that you can make others happy. Is it? You know? My wise teachers taught me a story one day. You know, two friends met with each other, and then one friend was like, "Hey, you, my dear friend, could you please look after me?" And the other friend, he was a wise one, and he told, "What about instead of looking after you, what if I look after myself on behalf of you, and you look after yourself on behalf of myself?" What do you think about that idea? I think that's what we can do. We can look after ourselves. Why? We always think the problem is outside. If doesn't care about, if your husband doesn't care about, if your wife doesn't care about you, if your teachers do not care about you, or your co-workers do not pay attention to you, you always feel like
Martian census.
you always feel like that you're not being taken care of. Yeah. It is just because of that you feel like you want everyone's attention, isn't it? You want yourself to be taken care of. But if you really find out that you are everyone, you are one, and this everything is one and the same. What if you really come into a realization like that? That nothing can be actually separated. Instead, we are one and the same. Isn't it? Let me show you something. You feel like that I am completely different from you people, you all. Isn't it? Don't you feel it? That you and I are two different entities. That's how we feel. But are we really separated from each other? Are we truly separated from each other? Or is that something that you really bear in your mind, which is not true at all? Let me tell you something. Do you know what are we made out of? Well, as Zen said, I'm a biochemist, and I know a little bit more about the molecules and the atoms and so on. So let me tell you something about that. What are we made out of?
Water.
Sorry, ma'am?
Water?
Water.
Water, is it?
Yes.
Not exactly water.
Carbon.
Yes.
Carbon base.
Carbon, and
Yep.
what else?
Carbon, hydrogen, the elements in the periodic table.
Sorry, sir. Carbon, hydrogen, and other elements?
From the periodic table, yeah, almost all.
Yes, yes. So true. Exactly. All
Can I
right.
say the 4 great elements?
Oh, very wise. Yes. Who's that, sir?
Well, that's me, Bharat.
Bharat. Bharat, yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, you can tell 4 great elements as well, which is even lower than carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen. Yeah. All right. So, of course, well, it's not, Brooke, it's not really water, but basically the elements. You know that hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, all sorts of things. Carbon, of course, I can't forget carbon. Yeah. And what are they made out of?
Electrons and protons.
Well done. Good job. Is that only? No. We got electrons, protons.
Protons and neutrons.
Well done. Well done. The person who told me, Bharat, yeah, who told me that 4 great elements, yes, they are even below this level, even below electrons, protons, and neutrons. So let's stop here. So basically, we are made out of this stuff. Yeah.
What about the mind?
Yes, sir. Yes. Mind is another level of energy. Good job. We'll first talk about the body. Yeah? Cool. So it's electron, protons, and neutrons. What is there in front of me? What is this atmosphere made out of?
Same elements. Same stuff. Same electrons, protons, neutrons.
Well done. Electrons, protons, neutrons. basically, the oxygen atoms here, now they're inside this, and then the carbon dioxide comes out. And again, someone takes same air in, and he exhales, he or she exhales. So can I be separated from this atmosphere, really? Can I be separated?
Impossible.
Impossible? Is that what you said, sir?
Yeah, impossible. Yeah, we can't.
Well done. Everybody agree with me? Everybody? But then how do you feel actually? Don't you feel as a separate entity? Don't you feel as a separate entity, don't you? But now you just told me, you and the atmosphere, yes, they're the same. And what about me and Zen? Aren't we share the same thing?
Separation is illusion. Separation is illusionary. Can we say that?
Sorry, sir. Repeat it again.
Are we saying separation is illusionary or a mental construct, not reality?
So true. So then, did everybody understand that? Yes, we feel like that we are separated. We feel like we are separate entities. But are we truly separated? Or are we really just one and the same?
Maybe like at some levels we are separate, but in other aspects we are
Separated?
yeah, like in some ways we are separate. Like
What kind of levels that we are separated?
you have your own name, your parents. I have my own name, my own parents.
That is
For
just
example,
conventional.
yeah, well, to some extent.
Yeah.
But on a very low level.
In a very deep level. I'm talking about the
Very
deepest
deep
level.
then yes.
That we are one and the same. All right, let me show you. I got a couple of friends who voluntarily helped me. Can you see this?
Mm-hmm.
Can you recognize what it is?
Yeah, it's a rabbit.
Well, not a rabbit. How
Mickey
does it
Mouse.
look?
Mickey Mouse. I don't know.
Mm-mm.
Mouse.
It's Peppa Pig.
What?
Peppa Pig.
Oh, Peppa Pig. Okay. Peppa Pig.
Yeah, all right. So this is made out of Play-Doh. But what do you feel? Play-Doh or do you feel the Peppa Pig? What do you feel, sir?
Yeah. The pig. I don't even know it's made out like that.
Awesome. That's what I wanted you to feel. How do you feel? The kids of 80s know who this is.
Pingu.
Yes. This is Pingu. My loving friend, she made this one for me. This is Pingu, yeah? That's how you feel. That's how you feel. That's how you perceive. All right. Well done. Well, what do you see here? Can you actually guess? Maybe it's not very prominent.
Wizard hat.
Sorry, ma'am?
Wizard hat.
Wizard?
A hat.
Hat.
That's how it looks like, yeah? But actually, my friend made a rose out of that Play-Doh. And there's another one. How do you recognize this one?
A dog.
Come on. Okay, come on. I agree with you. I thought that it's, my friend, she thought that it's a fox.
Yeah.
So we had a couple of things that we made out of Play-Doh. Pingu and a fox, and we had Peppa Pig. And my dear people, ladies and gentlemen, you perceive different things. You perceive 4 different things. But to be honest, what were they made out of?
Play-Doh.
Well done. And now you perceive as a woman or as an Anagārikā, and you perceive as a Play-Doh, and now you perceive as a whiteboard, and this. At the same time, you perceive this as a pen. But basically, they are all made out of the same stuff, isn't it? All right. Now we are coming to the mind. Still you feel the separation, don't you? What about the mind? What do you think about the mind? Mind is the consciousness, isn't it? Consciousness. How do you interpret the mind? Mind is basically the 6 perceptions, isn't it? Do you know what are the 6 perceptions, ladies and gentlemen? Sight?
Yes. Eyes, ears, nose, skin, and
Yeah, those are the organs. So it's sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and thoughts. Those are the 6 basic, not basic, those are the 6 perceptions. Apart from that, can you tell me something that you recognize as yourself? Apart from these 6 processes, name anything that you recognize as yourself. Can you name anything apart from these 6?
Your memories.
Well, the memories come under the 6th sense, which is the mind, the Dhamma part. Memories come under Dhamma. So basically, are you all with me? You mean these 6 processes, aren't you? You are that, basically. Are you all
what
with me?
is the physical body? How to explain the physical body?
Physical body. So this is like, sir, this is like the levels of the energy. So physical, so this is like, you know, the energy and matter, the duality between the energy and matter. So it's like, this is like condensed energy, which you see as the body, which you call them, you can call different names depending on whatever the arrangement they are. Electrons, protons, neutrons, carbons, hydrogens, oxygens, amino acids, lipids, or carbohydrates, whatever it is, depending on the arrangement, you can give them different names. But basically, everything is what? It's energy. So 6 senses, the 6 perceptions, that's you. So consciousness, to whom does that belong? Well, you, ladies and gentlemen, you think that this consciousness belongs to you. Don't you think so? You feel like you are the person who controls all these things. Isn't that how you think? Are you all with me or not? Are we all in the same wavelength? Do you have any questions, by the way?
There's just some comments online.
Yes, sir.
On your earlier points on the expectations. Like she mentioned that she had the same issue with her kid. He went out to his friend's place without telling her after school while he missed a class, so this disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
And then Eddie mentioned on the topic of interconnection. He said, I wonder why we are all connected like this, even when we live far away. So that's just the comments online so far.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
Can I say
Yes.
we are different? We are different entities, but we are interrelated, interconnected.
Yeah, that's what I want to show you, sir. That's how you feel. That's how you feel like you feel a sense of separation. That's how you feel. I totally agree with you. That's how it is being felt like. Like, feel the separation. That is sense. That is just a sense. But I'm asking you, is there a real separation between us? Or are we just one and the same? So you feel this consciousness belongs to you. Don't you think so? The seeing process, the hearing process. Does it really belong to you? Is that just set of causes aligned in order to give rise this consciousness? Let me explain something. Are you all confused, by the way?
No, I kind of get it. Because like if we all have the same atoms and we're all made up of everything else in the universe, then it kind of means that we are the universe. Like that we're not quite separate from it, but the way our energies flow are different, I guess.
Sadhu. Yes. That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say. Yes, sir.
I'm a little bit confused by, if this is not me thinking, then who is it? Then where is this consciousness from? And I see this, I like this, I don't like this, I'm worried about this, I'm depressed. It's all about me. And if it's not me, then what it is? This is what I just like to know later on. Thank you.
Sadhu. Thank you very much for forwarding that question. Yes. Let me tell you this. Now you believe that you are the person who's looking at me, isn't it? But I'm telling you, that's just you feel it that way, but it's not that really you are looking at me, but it's just, that's the perception occurs in the mind. Let me show you this. Come up with any question. I'm happy to answer any question that you have. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me present this. Tighten your seat belts. Here I am, which you think as Anagārikā Sumudu, and then this is the light which we're having right now, and we have the, what do you call this, the atmosphere between you and me, and of course you have something even beyond that. You have the screen in front of you. Well, I'm talking about the people who are in front of me, and they have their eyes, and this is an optical nerve, and it goes and connects to what? The brain, or the CNS, central nervous system. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me label them. This is what you think as Sumudu or Sumudu Mahatmya or Anagārikā Mahatmya, basically made out of 4 red elements, or you can say carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen, and all the other, whatever, electrons, protons, and neutrons. And the light, the atmosphere, the eyes, and let's say the brain. This is my question, sir. Question to everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Now you feel, you get the perception of sight. And we can call it, so my name is Sumudu. We can call it Anagārikā Sumudu. Okay, this is the perception that you have right now in your minds. Okay, oh good. Basically, what really happening right now is that these 5 things, well, I have just confined the causes into these 5 things, but everything, even my heartbeat, even your heartbeat, your eyes, Everything should be there. Your screen should be working. The electricity should be there. So I have neglected those things. I have considered only these 5 courses. So these 5 courses are aligning to give the perception you are having right now, isn't it? These 5 things are coming in together in a certain way to give the perception that you are having right now. Okay? So basically, it's just the courses aligned in a certain way to give the perception which is Anagārikā Sumudu. Isn't it? Okay.
So if we didn't have these perceptions, there's no way we would experience life. It's like our perceptions, our 6 perceptions that actually put us into contact with life. Is that how it works?
Yes. That's 5 perceptions, yes. So
Sorry.
you feel this Anagārikā Sumudu, and actually what you feel is you are looking at someone. You are looking at this person. That's how you feel, isn't it, sir? Isn't that how you feel?
Check outside. Just sent Mom a message.
Isn't that how you feel? You are looking at me, yeah? All right. But this is just set of causes aligned to give you that perception, which doesn't mean that it is a separated entity, a separated feeling. It's just the causes. Only the causes are there. Okay, let me tell you this. So what if this whole room is filled with a dense fog? Will you be able to perceive this? Will you be able to perceive this? No, you won't. But if all the things are there except the light, will you be able to perceive what you're perceiving right now? Can you? No. And let's say, yeah, okay, your mom tells you something, just like what happened to Brooke last time. Mom tells you something, and then you're not listening. Even though you're looking at the screen, you are thinking about what your mom is telling. Still, your eyes, in front of your eyes, the screen is working. But can you see me? Can you get this feeling? So, how did you? Is that you who perceived it, or is it these causes came in together in a certain way to give the perception you are having right now? All right, let me take another example. Okay, you think that you are doing it. You think that you are looking at me. You think that you hear me. Yeah? All right. So I'm going to tell you something. Since you are the owner of your thoughts, since you are the owner of your minds, stop this. Okay? Agree? All right. You know Taj Mahal, which is made out of that crystals, which is located in India, made by, who's the king?
Shah Jahan.
Shah Jahan, yes.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Forget it. Forget it now. Don't think about Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal, you know that. A beautiful monument. Don't think about it. No. I didn't ask you to think about it. I just asked you to forget it. Can you do that? Can you forget it? When I'm telling you to, when I give you the Dhamma, when I give you the object, can you stop thinking about it? I mean, if you are the owner of these processes, you should be able to stop it. Isn't it? If you are the owner of your own thoughts, you should be able to stop this, but you could not, which means even though you feel, even though it is being felt like a person is there to do things, to be honest, is there a person, or is it just a process? Once the cause is aligned, the perception happens. Once the cause is aligned, the perception happens. The mind occurs. Mind does the minding process on its own. And apart from that, because of the ignorance means not knowing about the nature of the world, not knowing about the nature of the nature. Since the mind doesn't know how it perceives things, mind doesn't know. Yes, sir. Do you have any question? No? Okay. Since mind doesn't know how this perception occurs, and because of that, once this happens, once the perception happens, it fixes. It fixes because it doesn't know the nature. Mind doesn't know the nature of the nature, so it fixes things. What really happens is causes aligning to give a certain manifestation. Let me share this one again. Maybe because maybe you're not really, maybe you didn't get this one really well. So let me share another thing with you, which I really love. This is the example that I really like. Have you ever seen the Perahera in Sri Lanka? I don't know whether they have seen the Perahera. We have this, a cultural festival in Sri Lanka, which we call Perahera. No, maybe you're not familiar with that. But you have seen the, what is this? Vivid. We have the vivid here.
Yes.
And then you project lights to the opera house, is it?
Yeah.
And then you see different things. Okay, so that's fine. All right. So you know that during that vivid, the lights are projected. What are we doing? We are just projecting the lights. But what do you really perceive? Do you really perceive the lights separately? Or do you really feel things? Do you see the dolphins and you see the, different things? What do you really perceive? Do you perceive individual lights, or do you perceive certain things? Isn't that you perceive things? Yeah? But what really happens? Of course, that's what you perceive. You perceive as entities. But what are there? What are really there? Just lights. Lights are making different shapes. And then you identify the shapes as things. But to be honest, what are there? Just the light. Just the light is there. But just like that, that's what I wanted to tell you. Just like that, the lights are the causes. So the lights are the causes that manifest those entities in your mind. You see different entities, maybe flowers, animals, and buildings, and ships, all sorts of things. But what were there underlying reasons are just the lights. Just like that, dear ladies and gentlemen, the mind is just like set of lights coming together to manifest something which you feel as a separate entity. It is just a feeling, a sense of self. And that's, you want to keep this self happy, isn't it? Isn't that what you've been always trying to do? Isn't that why you came here? Looking for the peace in your mind? Isn't it? The solace that you were after? That's what you are looking, even through your relationships. But what if you understand? So yes, of course, you have to treat your colleagues really well, your friends, your mom. Always go the extra mile and be in their shoes and try to understand their feelings. That is the two-dimensional world that I'm talking about. But deeper down, when you go into the philosophy of Buddhism, this is the reality. The mind thinks a separate entity, a separate being exists. But to be honest, it's just the causes aligning in a way to give rise to a perception. And once this perception occurs, since the mind doesn't know about the real nature of the world, it separates it from the causes and creates a separate entity in the mind. It feels like a separate entity, but to be honest, only the causes were there. Just like during vivid, you see different monuments, whatever, different features, different animals, different buildings, different type of things. But those are just lights projecting to the opera house. If you really understand that this separation that you feel as a separate entity or you feel as a being is just a sense that happens only in that moment. Why am I telling that only in that moment? Do you think that mind is constant, or is it like rising and passing away, rising and passing away? If it is something constant, once you hear me, you won't be able to see me. Why? Then hearing should be there. But it's not like that. You hear, you see, and then you feel the sense, and then you smell, and then you taste. Everything happens one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. That means there's no just one mind that goes. It's one after the other. Sight, sound, 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 touch, touch, sight, sight, smell, 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 like that. So, but you feel like you were born in 1986 and then you are living up until 2024 and your name is, let's say, Sumudu, and you have become an Anagārikā now. You have a whole story from there to here. But what really happened is, at every moment, a single mind rises and passes away. And what happens is, because of ignorance is not knowing about the nature, not knowing about that causes are aligning to create effects. Ignorance is that. Because of ignorance, and at the same time, because of ignorance, you don't know that this what happens is just the causes are aligning, then you get attached to things, and it is being felt like a separate being is being lived there ever since. And you now, since you are feeling this separation, the mind wants to keep that entity happy, that separated being happy, and that's why you do things, you are after things which you want to make yourself happy. Excuse me, Zen, what's the time now?
It is 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. All right, I think I'm going to stop here because I'm pretty sure you got questions to ask. So
basically, the sense of self is kind of illusionary. We should try to be out of it.
yes,
Mind is creating that sense of self, and we are so much attached to that sense of self and trying to keep it happy. We are trying to keep happy something which does not really exist.
sadhu, sadhu, yes. That's what basically I wanted to tell you. But we have to understand it. We have to practice it. If you're not practicing it, if you're not seeing it, if you're not trying to contemplate, comprehend that, always we live in that fallacy where you think that you exist as a separate being, a separate entity, and then of course you want to keep yourself happy, and then you're looking for things to make you happy, and then of course you have expectations, and then once you can't reach your expectations, then you become upset, you become sad, and that's how the sadness or the grief or the suffer rises in the mind. So we have a cure. actually not a cure. We can prevent. We can prevent. We can keep ourselves away from this suffering if we really understand this. If we really come into, if we realize this, that the reality of the mind.
Eddie, you've got your hands up.
Yeah. So I'm getting the point. I'm starting to getting the point. But what really happened to the way I think about mine is that Jen has got one, I've got one, Brooke has got one, and Anagārikā has got one. What really happened there when someone gets enlightened? What happened to that mind that I think that there is one and this is another one? What really happened there?
Yeah. So, sir, thank you very much for that question. So even though it is being felt like a mind is there, it's not that a mind exists, but just as I told you, the causes aligned. Only the causes are there, Eddie. Only the causes are there. Let me show you another example. Let me share this with you. Okay, this is another classic example that I really like. You have a blue light, okay, and you have a red light. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to superimpose these, or I'm going to, superimposing. All right, now, oh, it's not giving the color, but it's something, giving something. All right. This is cause 1 and this is cause 2, all right? Cause 1 and cause 2 coming together. When it looks like purple. Looks purple, yeah. Okay, so that this is cause 1 and cause 2 coming together to manifest an effect. What if okay, we have these spotlights. So we have red spotlight and then blue spotlight, and then I'm superimposing them together, and then I ask one of you to come and stand on it and look back and tell me, I'm asking you a question, is there a purple light that is really projected to you? Is there a purple light actually? What do you think? Is there a purple light actually projecting at you? Or is it just the blue and red lights are projecting? So, my dear ladies and gentlemen, do you understand? It's just two causes came together to give a perception of purple. So that these two, so purple doesn't belong to blue. Purple doesn't belong to red. But this is the magic. This is the magic of the mind. This is the illusion of the mind. Once these two come together, it gives the perception of purple. You perceive it as purple. But is there a separate light that we projected as purple? No. That's how you feel even right now. You feel the sense of self. What happens is the causes are coming together to give the sense of self. But is that really a separate entity or just the connection, the combination of these two?
But then if you break it down more, they're not even lights. They're just drawings on a whiteboard. And then when you break that down even more, the marker is just chemicals that you've dabbed onto the whiteboard, and then the whiteboard is just made out of something else.
Yeah. So I'm here actually to, that's the causes and the effect. That's the nature. That's how everything manifests. Whatever you feel right now is something that is a combination of causes. Even, yes, of course, everything. You call it red, that is a manifestation. You call it blue, again, that is set of causes aligned to give this perception as well. And if, of course, you call this whiteboard, but it is again set of causes coming together to manifest that effect. Of course, you call this Sumudu Mahatmya or Anagārikā Sumudu, whoever. And this is also set of causes coming together, give this perception, give you this perception, which is as Sumudu Mahatmya, Anagārikā Sumudu. Does that make sense? That what I want to tell you is that causes are coming together to manifest something which you feel as an entity. But to be honest, it's not an entity. Come on, it's not an entity. It's just the combination of causes. Let me give you another example, which I really like. You know, have you seen? Oh, of course you have seen. What do you call?
Candle.
The candle. The candle, you know? So that the wick should be there, oxygen should be there, and the actual temperature, the temperature that, I can't remember the temperature that really needs to make the flame. So oxygen, the wick, and the temperature. Once these three things are perfectly matched, what do you perceive?
Light. You perceive light, right?
Well, actually the flame.
Flame, yeah.
But from where does it come? Did it come from somewhere? Or just once the causes? I mean, if it is a separate entity, it should be coming from somewhere. But what
it has no independent existence. Yeah. It has no independent existence.
Sadhu, yes. Dependently originated. That is what we call it. No independence at all. But what do you feel right now? Don't you feel that you are an entity that is independent? I'm just giving you the examples, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just giving you the examples to prove that everything is an effect. The causes coming together to manifest something. If this is a separate entity, there should be a place where the fire came from, the flame came from. And once we cut off oxygen, this just goes off. Have you done that during the high school chemistry? I have done that experiment. I have, it's very easy. Once you cut off the oxygen, this goes off. You don't need to touch it. You don't need to blow it off. I mean, you don't need to touch this flame. It just goes off. Why? Once the causes are not perfectly aligned, can the manifestation still happen? No, the manifestation is not there anymore. Why? The causes are not coming together. This is like flaming. It's not like that flame exists. It's like flaming. Flame is happening right now.
Yeah, so basically the false ego is the problem, essentially.
Sorry, I didn't get it.
Basically the false ego is the problem, right? We think that ego is real, but it's not real, it's false.
Ego, yes, ego is it's an effect that is created. It comes as a result of the sense of separation, the sense of self. Then comes ego. Yeah.
So what happened to the Buddha when he gets enlightened? What happens to this ego and this sense of self?
Yeah. So again, find your seatbelts. Even though you believe that you do exist, you never ever existed. Enlightenment is coming into understanding, coming into realization of coming into the real understanding that this beingness never existed. This separated feeling, it's just a feeling that is felt like that way, but a real separation did not happen at any point. Does that make sense?
So the main question is, where is the memory stored then? Because I can retrieve memories which happened yesterday, day before yesterday, which I don't hold right now.
Yes.
And they will, I'll get them again tomorrow. So
Yeah.
while I'm not holding them, where are they being stored?
It's like,
What is the container of that memories?
pardon?
What is the container of this memories? Like it is coming, right? Like tomorrow I can just remember what happened last year. Or, so in the past 1 year, where was the memory stored?
It's not that anything is stored anywhere, but it's like, yeah, we call it Namagota, but then it's not that there's a separate place called a storage for the memories. No, because this is always growing in nature. Because nothing stays stationary. Think of yourselves right now, the blood is pumping and your excretory products are happening, whatever the excretory system is working, and then your the digestive system, and then your circulatory system, everything is working, and then you are taking oxygen, the oxygens are coming into this end. So nothing has stopped ever since. Even here, you think that this is stationary, but it's not. You know that if you have done, even in high school chemistry, you must have studied that the molecules are in a constant vibration. So nothing is constant. Once the environment is created, then the related frequencies are coming into fruition. It's like, sir, that think of, that old in the back then, around 90s or so on, we had these radios where we need to, we had that tuning object. Have you seen that? So we had to tune it to get the real frequency, isn't it? That's how we did. Yes, sir.
Is it the reason why when Buddha got enlightened, that's why he can see all his previous life?
Tell it again, sir.
So when the Buddha got enlightened,
yes,
the story was that he can see all his previous lives. Remember, yeah.
He could recall.
Yes.
I mean, that mind. So that the resonation. Have you heard of resonation? You know that when you have 512 tuning fork, when it is vibrating, and if you have another 512, do you know about the tuning forks? Tuning forks. Do you know about the tuning forks? Yeah.
Resonance.
Yes, sir. Once you have 512 in front of your hands, and then once it is vibrating, and once you take another 512 closer to that, you know that this one starts vibrating. Have you experienced that? It's again high school physics. Have you experienced that? So that's, you haven't experienced it. That happens. So when this is vibrating, this starts vibrating. You know that we call it resonance. Yes. So that something like that. That's how you get the memories. Once the environment of the mind, once the mind is created, once that frequency is there, it drags the frequencies which are resonating accordingly. So that's how you remember the things. Well, to be honest, sir, I've got things to tell you, which I can keep telling for the whole night. But I have to, I can't do it just within just 1.5 hours. Because there are a lot. You have to meet my vice teachers one day. I expect you all. I actually not pray, but I expect that to happen one day, for you to meet my vice teachers. that you'll be able to come into the real sense, you'll be able to understand why that you are here. What is the real purpose of your life? Make sense?
Anagārikā, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Just to touch on what you've mentioned so far, apologies, it's just the motion sensor. I think you touched on very important points about taking the highway to better relationships.
Yes,
and
sir.
how giving and making others happy
Yeah.
is quite key, and
Yes.
removing the self-centeredness and thinking about others.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of joy in giving.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people in this modern day and age really haven't experienced that enough, or haven't changed their paradigm or how they see things. Because they like to see things as they like it to be, but they don't see things as they really are. And I think a lot of what you've touched on is just seeing reality for what it is.
Yeah.
And you went through great detail in explaining how, and the great chemistry lessons on how we're not all that separate in terms of constituents and makeup. We all have all these elements in us. And you talked about great examples on the candle, the spotlight, the colors, vivid. Would you be able to touch on a little bit more on impermanence and how that can help us reduce our suffering, and applying the perception perhaps of impermanence to things? Is there any benefit to that?
Applying permanence.
Impermanence, the perception of impermanence. Because a lot of the times, and I think you've touched on it a lot in several ways, we think of what is really impermanent. For example, our bodies, our perceptions, our feelings. We take them to be self, and we take them to be permanent. We want them to be permanent, but really, like you've alluded to, it's a whole heap of causes and conditions arising and falling away. Perhaps if you could elaborate further on that point, or share a little bit more on that point.
Yeah. So, as you mentioned, sir, so that when it comes to impermanence, that is because that we get that idea of impermanence because we believe that something is there to be permanent, isn't it? So that we feel like this is permanent, and it should be in a way that we expect it to be in a certain way. And once it is not, which is we think as the impermanence, once it changes, then we feel sad, we feel upset. But, dear sir, if you really understand, there was just a manifestation, just the causes were aligned in a way, and this is not really the impermanence, it's just again another set of causes aligned to give absolutely a new perception. The thing is, because of this fixation, because of the not knowing nature, not the actually we call it ignorance, not knowing about what is really happening. Because of that, the mind fixes one thing, and once the causes are changing, everything has changed into a different state, and the mind cannot accept it. Why? Mind always was looking for fixed entities. But the nature is the causes and results. The causes are coming together to give a certain effect. And this is effect. This is an effect. And this is also an effect. But the mind, since mind doesn't know about the nature of the nature, it can't accept it. Does it make sense to you all? Yeah. And for how many minutes have we got, sir?
We've got 10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay.
Yeah.
Let me share something with you, which I really, something that I really learned from my teachers. This is a stanza from, it's not from Dhammapada, but you know that it says, when you give what you like, giving what you like gives you what you like. Giving foremost gives you foremost. Giving what you want gives you what you want. Giving greatness gives you greatness. That's what my teachers always tell me. Whatever you have, give it. Do not expect back. Giving greatness gives you greatness. If you really want love from others, give love to everyone. So when I was lay, my heart was really small. I had my mom, dad, and my loved, friends, and then some of my family members, and my lay life husband was there in my heart. But so I knew how to love, but it was very limited. But after coming into this life, my wise teachers taught me how to love everyone, despite of religion, despite of their race, despite of their age, the gender, whatever, despite of boundaries. They taught me to love everyone. So I think through this time, what happened was my heart was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm pretty sure one day this will be big enough to accommodate the 8 billion people in this world. Look at you. You're not my mom. You're not my dad. You're not my lay life husband. I don't know any one of you, but I'm here to share the eternal happiness that I am experiencing right now. Because I want you to be happy. I want you to experience this. In our monastery, did I tell you that there are 750 of us? We are living in a very peaceful life. That's a paradise. Well, paradise? I believe that's the paradise in the world, actually. Think of 750 living in a very peaceful environment. We are taking care of each other. We don't care about who's the person going to do it. Is that my job or is that your job? We don't have any separations at all. We take care of each other. We give love to everybody, not only for ourselves, but for the whole world. What I think is, if we want to have healthy relationships, and if you feel like you are lacking something, just give that. Whatever you feel like you are lacking, give it more to the others. And eventually, there will be a day that you start receiving it boundlessly. Without limits, you'll start receiving it.
That's very beautiful. And indeed, we all can feel your kindness and your love and your care for everybody here in the audience tonight.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions before we ask to close the session? Anybody in person or online? And for those who are not aware, we have a pilgrimage to Sri Lanka, and we'll be staying at
our monastery?
Yes, at the Jetavanarama.
Yeah,
And, I've put into the links,
awesome.
into the chat, the link to the pilgrimage. So if you're interested, register. There's limited spots. And there's some videos online. It's an amazing place, and it's just really inspiring. Are there any final sort of questions before we close the session tonight?
Are there any weekend sessions or something, full weekend sessions that we can attend?
Yeah, so there's actually, I put it into the chat, Pavan. There is Venerable Dr. Mahinda Thero, who's leading an online session this Friday, 7 to 8 via Teams. He previously, in July, had a weekend retreat in the Blue Mountains, so you've just missed that one. But stay in tune, check the website and WhatsApp. If there's upcoming events, we'll let you know. But these Venerable Dr. Mahinda has weekly sessions. Next week, we've got Anagārikā Mahesha, also presenting on the topic of navigating the daily challenges of a woman, practical application of Buddhist philosophy, a mind lab event. So yeah, hang around here.
I have a minute.
Yes, of course, of course.
I got small thing to share with you. So in our monastery, we have this the hedges next to our monastery. So there are wild sunflowers. Have you seen wild sunflowers? The flowers are not that big, maybe this much. So that time to time we have to prune these hedges, and so that once they are pruned, so I just go and have a look, and I see that some of these blossoms, they bloom. Still, they don't have water, nutrition, they have nothing, but they are trying to indulge the world with the fragrance and with the beauty of those flowers. So I am trying, it doesn't matter what happens to you, try to make others' lives beautiful. Try to give a smile to everybody around you. Make others' lives comfortable. At the same time, I'd like to say that it's a great honor for me to meet you all and to be here and giving this talk to you all. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, Zen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Words cannot express our gratitude and your thankfulness for sharing. Indeed, you've taken us on this very beautiful journey on the teachings of the Dhamma, the joy of giving, the wisdom of dependent origination, and the wisdom of impermanence and how it can enrich our lives. So indeed, we're very grateful. May we ask you to share some merits or a short dedication or a prayer to close the session?
Okay. Yeah, so today that we are gathered here, that we had this special event that is organized by Tina and the group, Metta Center, and we are very grateful for you all for organizing this event and the merits that we have acquired throughout doing the chanting of Buddhaguna and doing the alms and talking to a lot of people who are having various different types of problems in their lives and delivering this the discussion today. We'd like to transfer these merits to all the sentient beings that are there living in the 1,000 world systems out there, and who are parents and mothers and sisters and brothers, and who are teachers, and those who are always around us, those who helped us throughout this samsara. And of course, we'd like to transfer these merits to our teachers and the monks and nuns everywhere in the world, and all the people who have gathered here. And we would like to extend our gratitude to those who were behind these events and who were making this a successful event. And may through the power of these merits, may all the beings in all these 1,000 world systems be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us in person and online. Thank you, Anagārikā Sumudu. We're very, very grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Hope you all have a good week ahead and stay tuned. Keep in touch. Thank you.